Hello, 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 and welcome to your Passive Legacy podcast, where we talk about how you can quit trading your time for money. This is Master Coach Eve, and today's topic is going to be about guerrilla marketing. Okay, so guerrilla marketing is a special type of marketing, and it's going to be basically a creative style of marketing. That means you got to think outside the box. If you don't know how to think outside the box, well, you might be a little SOL on this one. But I have some really awesome examples for you that will let you know basically what kind of marketing you should have and what type of marketing you don't need. All right. So these are some tactics that you can use. Cash in on viral trends. Okay, what do I mean by that? Cash in on viral trends means you need to make sure that you are aware of the trends, first of all. So what is a trend in your industry or period? And one of the first things that I would say to you is that Facebook is a trend. I don't know how long Facebook will be around, but do you remember MySpace? I mean, every kingdom has its day. So you want to make sure that you cash in on that. Facebook is the number one platform for you to be on for social media if you want your business to succeed. But at the same time, you don't really need Facebook. There's other platforms. There's a lot of other platforms that you could be successful on. So don't let that fool you or make you feel obligated to have a Facebook. But that's one of the trends. Another trend for blogging in the blogosphere is it's an app called Medium, like small, medium, large. It's called Medium, and it's for writing specifically, and it's a platform where you can blog, and it's a very popular platform for you to use these days. Okay, so know the trends, know what people are into. I noticed that the kids are into fidget spinners. Those, I don't even know what that is, but I got one for my son because he liked it. So I know what it is in that regard, but just know what is trending. That doesn't mean, now listen up. That does not mean to start a business around a trend. The reason I say that is because a lot of the fads out there, a lot of the trends, they go away. So it's really important that you not spend your time or your money on something that you could end up it's not going to pan out. Like, for instance, everybody wants to talk about Trump and the election. If you started a business around that, like, watch, a couple years from now, nobody's going to be talking about it. So some people make the mistake of starting, like, say, for instance, you start a blog and you're talking about a topic that really is not going to be viable later. It's really important that you focus on viability. If you're focusing on something that's not viable, well, it's not going to last very long. So if you want short-term success, by all means, go ahead and build a business around a trend. What I mean by cashing on viral trends is just to add that trend to your marketing mix. That means that you add the trend, that's all. And by doing that, you can secure your passive legacy and build on that and make sure that you're changing with the times. A lot of people get stuck in their habits and they don't want to change with the times. There's people that are still doing the same thing that they were doing in 2000, and that doesn't work anymore. So what you have to do is make sure that you're cashing in on the viral trends so that you don't have to worry about getting behind or becoming irrelevant. Okay? That was number one, cash in on viral trends. Number two is partner with a local business. I can't tell you how important this is. If you have a local business that you, that you want to blossom into something a little bit more robust, what I would suggest is pairing up with a local business. And what I mean by pairing up with a local business is, say for instance, you are a health coach. A health coach, maybe you're a personal trainer, or maybe you're someone, that needs to, that's a nutritionist or something like that needs to be in the health arena, right? What you would do is you would pair yourself up with a local hospital, a local gym, a local area that focuses on healthcare products. Like you can try and pair up with a grocery store, a local grocery store. Not, and I have to say that some of the smaller businesses are better to work with, like mom and pop. When you start trying to pair up with like bigger businesses, it's a little harder to get your foot in the door. But you can indeed pair up with a mom and pop that's in a very decent location, and you can really make a big dent in your clientele. So if you would like to grow your clients, if you would like to get more exposure, if you would like to build relationships with other businesses, it's really important that you partner up with a local business. That's really important especially if you're a brick and mortar, but even if you have a service that you're trying to offer, it's a good idea to partner up with a local business. Okay. Number three on the list here is going to be flyer marketing. I know everybody says that this is like dinosaur age and it's, ancient history. That is not true. First of all, flyers work great. You still have an audience that does not really frequent online areas like social media. The people that are accustomed to newspapers, they're accustomed to going to the grocery store or the coffee shop or somewhere that is a physical place, and they would rather see a flyer than a digital ad. The digital ad doesn't speak to them, so the flyer is a type of native advertisement. And why is this important? Well, when you put the flyer up, people see the flyer, they attend the event. And the way that I've done this, that's what I did when I first started my coaching business. When I was doing my workshops, I would put up flyers for the workshop, and the flyers worked like magic. It worked like magic, especially for the baby boomers, early to late baby boomers. They're not really accustomed to technology this, technology that. They're not really, they just aren't really, focusing on that. So honestly, what I would say is, if you're going to do flyer marketing, you make up a flyer. It's really easy to do. Just find a free service that will allow you to do it, like Canva.com or 99 Designs, or even Microsoft Word if you have it on your computer already. But just try and create a flyer. You print them out. And here's the thing, is when I first started out, I used to go to the local business place and print out everything. But then when I realized is, man, I'm spending a lot of money on this. Like that little 10 cents, $1 here, $5 there, that started adding up. So what I did, and what I recommend you do, if you're going to be printing out flyers on a regular basis, I suggest that you invest in a very good printer. I have the HV Envy, I think it is. HP Envy. And it's a scanner, it's a printer, and it's a copier all in one. And the awesome thing about it is if I take pictures from far from home, I can send it to my HP Envy and it'll print it out for me. So that's something really valuable to have if you're going to be printing out flyers all the time, especially if native advertisement is going to be a big part of your business. So flyer marketing, okay? That is a type of guerrilla marketing. Okay? Number 4, call them all. Learn from politicians, okay? You call them all. What does that mean? That means that when you're talking to people, you make them feel like you're talking to them. Politicians tend to train themselves on body language, and they train themselves on how to speak to people, and they really just are very charismatic. And the ones that are not, notice that the ones that are not, they don't do well. so learn from the politicians. They have and I won't say natural ability because it's not. They, like Hillary Clinton, if you looked at some of her newer stuff, she's very trained. But when she first, came out into public with Bill Clinton, she wasn't that polished. So what I'm saying is that you indeed can train yourself to be decent in public with, say, for instance, if you're wanting to speak publicly, or you want to make videos, or if you want to do anything in the public arena, follow the politicians, look at them, and watch what they do. Okay? Number 5, water bottles. This is a beautiful idea, and I doubt that a lot of people will do this, but I think it's a genius idea. And I got this from Patrick Bet-David. He said that you should take some cold water bottles, put your information on the outside of the water bottle. So you know how the water bottle has the tag. You take the tag off, put your own tag on there, and you go out on a hiking trail. And this is funny because this spoke to me because I live near a national park where people hike all the time. And he said, take your information, put it on the outside of the water bottle, and make it nice and ice and cold. And when they come down from their hike, just say, hey, here is a nice ice cold bottle of water. I hope that this quenches your thirst. Go ahead and have something to drink. And when you give people stuff when they really need it, they remember you. And the thing is when they remember you, you set yourself up for success by putting your information on the outside of the bottle. That's so genius. That's so genius. So you can do that, or you could definitely do something similar to that. But it's just guerrilla marketing. It's basically, putting your information out there in a different way than everybody else does. Everybody has a business card, and they give the business card, and then no one follows up. I have a special one about that, and this is not on my list, but another way to do guerrilla marketing, I believe, is I found out that business cards don't really work that well. So if you have a business card, continue to hand them out. But what I've been doing is I've been using my business card to put in the luggage when I travel, so that people know who I am, how to get a hold of me, or whatever. But I don't really hand them out to people anymore because people don't follow up with business cards. They don't really do anything with it. They just throw it away. Even if you were like semi interested in a conversation you were having with someone, and you're like, oh my gosh, you would be a good contact to have. You either lose the business card, you forget about the business card, you forget where you put it, so you lose it, or you just don't follow up. So business cards are very ineffective, and I think that the better way to do it, and this is something I learned from a network marketer, out of all people, right? A network marketer, she said, basically, don't hand your business card out. What you want to do is you want to create a contact in your phone that it has all your information on there, your business name, your business address, your social media handles. So make sure that you put your Twitter on there, your Facebook on there, your Instagram on there, your YouTube on there, all your social media outlets, and also your website. And then when someone asks you, hey, do you have a business card? You say, no, I don't hand out business cards, but I can send you my information via text. And so then you get that. First of all, you're getting their phone number, and second, you're also sending them all of your information in that contact, because what you're going to do is you're going to share yourself as a contact. Isn't that brilliant? Oh my gosh, that just saves so much time and headache. And also, you immediately have their information. So if you just had an awesome, conversation with somebody, of course they're going to give you their number, because they, it's just easier than taking a business card that they're going to either chuck away or forget about. Okay? I don't even know how I got on that tangent, but the next one is local charities. Make sure that you have them promote you. You give them free services, but then have them promote you. So for instance, if you don't do any volunteer work in your community, first of all, you should be showing up in your community twice a month. That's right, twice a month. Because if you show up in your community twice a month, people get that, don't I know you from somewhere syndrome, right? Where they kind of know you, but they don't know you, but then they're like, that person looks familiar. So when you have that advantage, you're basically going to be able to get some brand recognition. You're also going to get some referrals, because the charities love when people give them things, and they chat it up with the people and tell people who gave it to them. So it's a great opportunity. And I actually saw this with an event that I went to. It was a children's reading program. The library got a bunch of sponsorships from local businesses, and the local businesses were all recognized at that sponsorship, and there was at least 100 people there. So given that the town that I live in is pretty small, it's a mountain town, that spread like wildfire. Okay. And it'll also get people, it'll open up the door for people asking you for sponsorships, and then you'll have to pick and choose which one, of course. But having the ability and the desire to do that, I guess, is really important. The first thing, wanting to donate to a charity. But if you do it, there's some rewards that come along with it. Of course, the first thing should be that you're going to feel good after doing it, but there are some eventual monetary gains. So there's that. Okay. Now, this next one is something that I was taught when I was a little kid. How many of you had a piggy bank when you were a little kid? I had a piggy bank. I'm not ashamed to say it. I had a piggy bank. It was a little pink piggy bank. And I remember I used to take my little change, and I would put my change into the piggy bank. Now, here's what you can do, okay? A guerrilla marketing tactic that you can do if you know that your client has kids: give their child a piggy bank. Give them a piggy bank. And then what you do is you say, you know what? This piggy bank is going to be your first bank if they don't have one already. I mean, honestly, like, that may or may not work. But just tell them this piggy bank is a special piggy bank, and it's meant for, for saving up for college or saving up for some awesome event, And the kid, first of all, is going to feel really special. And second, the parent, whom is your potential client, will be very impressed with you, and not only that, but more likely to do business with you. Consider that kind of like an ethical bribe. That sounds really bad, but that's pretty much what it is. So give the kid a piggy bank, okay? And you're probably, if you work with kids all the time, I'm telling you right now, for instance, if you own a daycare, what you can do is you can give their child a piggy bank on their birthday. It's once a year, okay? Stock up on some Walmart piggy banks and give the piggy banks away to the kids, and watch what the parents do. Watch. Okay? They're more willing to invest in more of your services. Okay. Number 8. Book influencers. Okay? What does that mean? That means that if you have a book, if you have some sort of product that you want to get out there in the world. Okay, I don't even know why I did that. But if you have a book that you want to get out into the world, what I would recommend that you do, when your book comes out, buy some copies, whether it's 20, 40, 100 copies, okay? And what you're going to do is you're going to sign each and every copy, and you're going to put maybe a sticker with your business information into the book, and you are going to send these copies of the books to influencers. So for instance, if I really wanted to be bold, I actually made a list of influencers that I eventually wanted to reach out to because they're doing what I want to do. And I really would love to be on their show. Marie Forleo is a good one. Evan Carmichael's another one. I would love to be able to speak to some of Tony Robbins' people, Les Brown, Eric Thomas, and just really to get to the nitty gritty of that. They're people too. And it's not like you can't reach out to them. If you reach out to them, they may actually enjoy having a conversation with you. Okay? So that's something that you can do. Make a list of influencers. Send a book or whatever your product is to them. Sign it. And say, it's free of charge. You're not asking them for anything. And just say, if you ever, want to have a conversation, This is my contact information, and maybe, just maybe, they will have a reason to want to talk to you. Okay. I think I swallowed a hair. Ew. Okay. Now we're gonna go to... I done lost my place. Lord have mercy. Okay, I found it. T-shirts. How many of you have a business where you need to sell t-shirts? Well, what you do with this is, when you sell the t-shirt, use Shopify on Facebook. Shopify on Facebook is a great, I guess, retailer, if you will. Shopify is awesome. And I think that if you use Shopify, you will get very good results because you don't have to worry about the graphics as much, because they do all of that stuff for you in your back office and they make it look all pretty. So when you sell t-shirts, think about Shopify. There's another one called Teespring. T as in Tom, Teespring. And that one is a print-on-demand t-shirt company, I believe. But Teespring, why not Teespring? You know, and I have also utilized, Vistaprint. I remember the first T-shirt that I ever printed out was from Vistaprint, and I designed my design at Canva.com, and I made sure that it fit the T-shirt, and I sent it over to Vistaprint. And I printed out a branded t-shirt. Now, what did I do with that t-shirt? I wore it out to different events. Like when I was volunteering in the community, I made sure to wear that t-shirt on purpose. I also made sure that anytime I, wanted to create a t-shirt, I asked my family and friends at times. I don't even think I've ever asked my family, but I know that I've asked my friends to wear the t-shirt. Because sometimes, listen, when you exhaust your warm market, what I mean by warm market is your family. When you are constantly trying to get them to wear your new gadget or t-shirt or whatever, you can kind of build a wedge in between the two of you. So I would recommend being really careful with that. But think about it this way. If they wear your t-shirt, that is walking, moving advertisement. They're literally like a billboard, but moving, walking around. That is probably the next best thing to do besides putting decals on your car. That's a type of guerrilla marketing, putting decals on your car. But the problem is that's kind of permanent. Unless, of course, you scrape it off. But I'm pretty sure it's like when you get your windows tinted. It's kind of permanent. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. If you have decals on your vehicle, you can go ahead and let me know in the comments below. But I'm a little hesitant to put decals on my car. Okay? Decals. But ask your family and friends to wear your t-shirt with your business information on it. Or give t-shirts away. That's definitely something that you can do. Okay? T-shirts. Number 10. I don't use Snapchat, but millennials do. And technically, I guess I don't know. I think I'm a millennial. But at the same time, I don't use Snapchat. I don't get it. I don't get Snapchat. If you use Snapchat, go ahead and post in the comments below if you use Snapchat on Facebook. Okay? I don't use Snapchat, but when you use Snapchat on your mobile, or when you use Snapchat at all, you can use filters in a 1 mile radius of a college. So for instance, if you're near a community college or something like that, use a filter and you will attract the attention of the college goers. That is brilliant, actually. That's really brilliant. Okay. So, I'm going to make sure that I don't have any questions and that I'm not ignoring people on Facebook. Hi, Facebook family. I decided to do this podcast on Facebook as well. Okay. I don't see any questions, so we can keep it moving. Okay. Now, here's what you can do as well. A social media change for 1 week. Now, what do I mean by that? Don't be one of those people that, like, they create a social media feed and they're like, oh, well, I'm going to change this every week. Don't do it. Please. Please don't. For the love of Pete. Don't change your Facebook picture all the time. People don't like that. Because it's hard to keep up with where you're at in life, right? Which people are on there, let's be honest, people are on there to keep track of your life. So when you post a new picture every 5 seconds, it can get tiresome. But if you change your social media, change it up like the picture or the background for a week, then you have the opportunity of creating something that's more like brand awareness. So on your cover photo, put something about your business. I think that a lot of people kind of go hardcore on this and they have it up all the time, which really can, like I said before, steer your family and friends away. So you don't want to do that. I think that that's just a bad idea. But that's totally up to you. Okay? Change your social media for a week. Let people know a little bit about what's going on with you and your company on your personal profile if you want, in your business. Now, my suggestion is when you have a business page on Facebook, make sure that you post a different background every month. Just keep it fresh. The business is a little bit different than the personal profile. The personal profile, I mean, people are trying to keep up with so many different people that it becomes more of an issue. But on your business page, I actually think it's vital to keep it fresh. To keep it, so that people are not bored. Okay? Just switch it up a little bit. There's nothing wrong with that. And I think that it's great. I do it. And I know other people that do it. And it works great. It just keeps people on their toes. And it makes it seem like someone's home. Okay? If somebody's home, great. Now, number 12, wrap a car. What do I mean by wrap a car? So have you ever seen a car driving around with advertisement on it? Or if you've ever watched NASCAR, they wrap the car with advertisements, sponsorships, things like that. I wouldn't recommend that you put sponsorships on your personal vehicle, but if you have a vehicle that you're using for work and you're an entrepreneur or small business owner, then by all means go ahead and wrap the car. But what I've found, which really kind of got under my skin, was that in my neighborhood, there's actually rules about having signs on your car. So you want to make sure that you actually look into that before you wrap your car. Because oftentimes they'll tell you that you have to park in your garage or that you have to not be advertising all the time, which is really interesting that a community would have as much control over that. But wrapping your car is just like having a sign up, really. And you need to check your community rules about that, because in my community, we're not allowed to do that unless we park the vehicle inside of the garage at night or when I'm home, which, yeah, that's a bit extreme, but okay. Yeah, wrap your car if you want. Okay? And now, there's more to that. You don't just wrap the car and then say, okay, I'm done. You have somebody travel with your car, or you travel with your car. And I would say a 10,000 mile minimum. Okay? So for instance, if you take a road trip in your car, you just wrap the car. So all those people are going to see your advertisement. Isn't that genius? I think it's genius. Okay. Okay. Another thing that you can do is keyword Twitter hashtag. Participate in conversations, okay? What you can do is go onto Twitter and find out what your industry hashtags are. So for me, like one of the hashtags that I use is hashtag marketing or hashtag content marketing or hashtag writing or you know what I mean? And I focus on specific one word keywords because when you start getting into phrases, that gets a little bit harder for people to remember. So just always have a hashtag that's industry specific for your business. Okay, so if you're, say for instance, you own a laundromat, well, you're going to have a laundromat hashtag. Or if you own a restaurant hashtag. Okay, just make sure that you're using hashtags. The hashtag should be on all of your marketing materials. It should be on your banners. It should be on your Facebook post. I wouldn't say that you have to flood people with it, but definitely have it on there as often as possible. Okay, hashtags. Now this next one is kind of weird. I thought it was weird. This next one and the last one is really weird to me. But if you want to do it, by all means, have a great time doing it. I got this one also from Patrick Bet David. I can never say his name right. I got this one from him also. He says, shoes. Send one pair, like, no, not even the whole pair. Just send one shoe. Send one shoe to a person that you want to do business with. Now, I'm not saying send a funky shoe to this person. It has to be a brand new, nice pair, nice to buy. Go to DSW shoes or something like that. You can. I wouldn't go to Payless because Payless, you can tell about Payless shoes. But if you go to like DSW shoes or something like that, where it's not like too expensive, buy a pair of shoes and send one shoe to that influencer or to the person that you want to have a meeting with. And then what you do is you write a letter to them asking them for 15 minutes of their time to get your foot in the door. Okay? You're just trying to get your foot in the door. If you sent them a shoe to get your foot into the door, and then you ask them for a meeting, and oftentimes people will want to connect the other shoe that you sent them, which is really weird. I think it's so funny, but send them a shoe. And then when they get the shoe, make sure that you have a letter with it, and you can go from there. Okay? I think that if you're going to do that, you got to be really careful about what shoe you send. You don't want to offend anyone. But I think it's really important to do that. Okay? Oh my goodness, I think I'm getting sick. I have to be getting sick. Okay. Anyway, hopefully I haven't confused you, but there's a lot of ways that you can do guerrilla marketing. What are some ways that you do guerrilla marketing? Do you hand out samples? Do you hand out any type of freebie that has your brand information on it? For digital products, this is giving out ebooks, this is giving out reports, this is giving out anything for free, really. That's your free stuff. That's your ethical bribe, right? That is your guerrilla marketing. Online, it's a little bit different than brick and mortar. All the ones that I just mentioned now are brick and mortar. But online would be like giving people a free ebook with your information in it, a free report, a list, a guide, anything like that with your information on it. And honestly, when you think about it, that's brilliant. It's a brilliant way to get your brand out there, and it's also a great way to connect with your target audience. So with internet marketing, is a little bit different than brick and mortars, but not by much really, because you're still giving people samples. You're still giving people free stuff. It has to be free. Keyword free. And it just really gets your foot in the door so that you can do business. I would really love to know what it is that you do for your guerrilla marketing. Do you use any of these? Are you Are you focusing on guerrilla marketing at all? Because guerrilla marketing is so inexpensive, and it just gives you an opportunity to really not have to spend money on things that don't necessarily work and use something that's practical. Like one time in particular, I went to the store and I bought some flowers. But I didn't buy flowers that were already potted. I bought flowers that you had to plant. And I took it to an influencer and I gave the flowers to them. And they were really like surprised and shocked. And it was really interesting because I gave them something that they could grow. And every time they look at that flower, they're going to be thinking about where they got the flower from because it's pretty. So instead of getting like regular flowers, and get flowers that the person has to plant. I don't know why I thought of that, but I just thought, well, you know what? This person probably has a garden. And sure enough, she had a garden. And I gave her the flowers and she was like, wow, Eve, thank you. Like, this is really sweet. So I know that it works because I've used this tactic before. And I've gotten to the point where I've gotten pretty skilled at giving guerrilla marketing tactics. And I think that if you use this in your business, you can grow your business. You can grow your business very quickly. Online, though, like I said, it's a little bit different online. You can give away training videos, which this is great. Training videos are freaking awesome. I think that if there's 3 different things that you can do to give away free content, okay? You can do like a 3-part video series where you're giving away information and give them value before you even ask for the sale. A lot of people think about this. If you were on a first date, you're not going to do certain things on a first date unless you're just that type of person. But most people don't do anything on the first date, okay? And you're not going to go and try to smooch a stranger. So when you think about your clients, you really have to think, okay, what can I do for them to add value that isn't going to be creepy or expensive for me, for one. Like, you don't want to get to the point where you're doing too much. But this is all a tax write-off, just so that you know. Any gifts or anything like that you give, anytime you take your potential client out for dinner or coffee or whatever, anything that you send them, understand that it's a tax write-off. Okay? So don't feel like you're not going to recoup the benefits of this. Either way, even if they don't respond, you can still write it off. But you can create, if you want to add value, what I would suggest, especially if you have an online business, create a training series where you can give them information for free. Like, technically, this isn't really a training series. What I'm doing right now, it's a podcast, but I can use it as a training series because I'm teaching you about guerrilla marketing. But another thing that you can do is have a live stream training. Live video is better than recorded video because it's going to show up in your feed and people are going to see that you're going live or that you're live, and they're going to investigate. Okay? You'll get more people investigating on a live video because they want to know what's going on. People are nosy. Not necessarily nosy, but curious. Some people are nosy, though. But some people are just curious and they want to know what you're talking about. And make sure that when you go live, this is so important. Okay? When you go live on Facebook, make sure you use a short description of what you're talking about. Because people don't want to sit there and read a whole paragraph. So if you say something like a live training for guerrilla marketing, okay, that's pretty short and sweet and to the point. Another thing that you can do to add value and to give them something for free, which is a guerrilla marketing tactic online, is create a webinar. A webinar that's for free and it runs 24/7 because it's online and you don't have to actually be there, but it's an evergreen product where you didn't charge him anything to be there, but you're adding value. And I've actually been funneled into countless of these because I like free information, but I always keep in the back of my mind that, I might do business with that person later because they had really good content. And don't, if you're going to give away something for free, just understand that it can't be sloppy. Your free stuff should be just as good as the stuff that you are going to give them when they actually get into your training program, when they get into your boot camp, or when they start using your product. It has to be your best foot forward. You can't give away something for free that's crappy and then try and charge somebody $500. No, that's not how it works. And you have to put your best foot forward. Okay. Teach people first and then give them the opportunity to buy and invest in themselves. Okay. So I have maxed out my knowledge about guerrilla marketing. The last thing you need to do when you're doing guerrilla marketing, before you first of all, this is a mistake that I made, so listen up very closely. Make sure that your guerrilla marketing isn't random, because otherwise it's gonna rack up a bill. And there's two things that an entrepreneur or small business, when they're just starting out, or even when they, are been around for a while but just don't really have all the resources that they want, they have a lack of manpower and a lack of money. So just understand that when you do this guerrilla marketing, don't do something so extravagant that you can't actually do it by yourself, or to have one team member or something like that help you do. Don't be too extravagant with your guerrilla marketing. That's all I'm saying. Because it gets costly and time consuming, and you're going to need the manpower and money to do it. Okay. That's just something that I had to think about. Like, okay, how can I serve and give value without maxing out my resources? Your time resources, your money resource, your manpower resource, your well, that's pretty much all of them that I would say is you don't want to max out those resources because you have a very limited amount of it. So just keep that in mind. But also, the last thing you're going to want to do is make sure that you prepare for it. So I always like to go by a profit pyramid. Okay. What metric are you going to measure by doing this guerrilla marketing? You don't just do guerrilla marketing for nothing. Okay. You're expecting an ROI. So when you're expecting an ROI, you want to make sure that you keep track of what you did. First of all, how much it cost. Who did you send the guerrilla marketing to, or who was involved in the guerrilla marketing, so that you know who the audience was, and you can split test from there. Because if it didn't work for that audience, then you're going to have to switch it up. Okay? So basically what you're going to do is you're going to make sure that you have a plan, have that goal, whatever that goal is, whatever metric, what metric. And what I mean by metric is, how do you want more likes? Do you want more follows? Do you want more revenue? Do you want more relationships, business relationships or partnerships? What is it that you're after? Why are you doing the guerrilla marketing? You have to have a reason, okay? It can't be random. It can't be like something that you just decide to do at the last minute. No. Okay? No. Don't do it. Make sure that you have a plan, okay? And you map out this plan with a timeline. You can get like a simple dollar store calendar if you want, or you can go into Microsoft Word and you can use the calendar in there. But those are just a few examples of what you can do. But just, make sure that you have a plan. Write it down. If it's not written down, then it's not getting done and it doesn't exist. Okay? I had a bad habit of not writing things down, and then later on I'm like, shoot, what was I going to do? And that's just something practical, just make sure that you write it down. Make sure that you have a mapped out plan. If you don't have a mapped out plan, then you're really going to struggle, because you won't remember why you're doing what you're doing. You got to have a why. Why are you doing the guerrilla marketing tactic? What is it that you're trying to get out of it? Write down your monetary goal, or so basically your macro or micro conversion. A micro conversion is just a like, a share, a follow, a subscribe, a comment, things like that don't bring an immediate monetary gain, but that could count as a monetary gain later on. And then the macro conversion is going to be getting money straight up right there, right then and there. Okay. So this has been extremely informative talking about this, but what you want to do is when you do your guerrilla marketing, make sure that you have a sales funnel that you are trying to take them down, and make sure that you know how long it should take from point A to point B, and just give yourself that allotted time. How long from the time you create the guerrilla marketing tactic to the time it gets to the person you're trying to influence with it, to the time a point of sale. Okay, how long should the turnaround be? Sometimes you can't really gauge this because this is something that I've learned, is that you can't really gauge the return on this very quickly. It's not a quick return. Sometimes you're going to have to wait a while when you do guerrilla marketing because it's not your average type of marketing, and maybe the person may never even say anything at all. So you have to keep that in mind. Not to discourage you, but just understand that this is not necessarily a fast game. It's definitely a patience game. You just wait for it to come back to you later. But you will want to use a profit pyramid. Write your goal at the top of the profit pyramid, and then write all of your metrics. And you write down all of your metrics, do maybe 5 sections, and write down 5 possible metrics that can come from your guerrilla marketing. You always want to have a purpose. Always have a reason for doing something. You never just do it just because. You can, but just understand, if you get in the habit of doing that, you're really going to be running on a treadmill, and no one wants to do that. I'm just kidding. There's plenty of people that do that, but I would say that if you want to get results very quickly, make sure that you are not running in place. Okay, so have a plan. Have a timeline, okay? Write down the metrics on why you're doing it, and just pick which one you want to do. I would honestly say focus on one at a time, one of these tactics at a time. A lot of people get scattered all over the place, and then they want to do 10 to 15 to 20 different things, and it's like, okay, slow down. Take a deep breath. And understand that you have to be patient. Guerrilla marketing is not for those that want instantaneous results. I'm going to say that again. Guerrilla marketing is not for people who want to have instantaneous results. It's very sporadic, the results. You never know when you're going to get the result. You can expect it, but it may come back to you in a way that you weren't expecting. It may come back at a time you weren't expecting. So measure the metrics that you could possibly get from the guerrilla marketing tactic that you're trying to implement into your business. And then when all is said and done, make sure that you split test. Try different things. Okay. You can try one guerrilla marketing tactic and then try another at the same time and see which one brings or yields a better ROI. You want to make sure that you're going to have a return on your investment. So always do this. Always have a plan. Always make sure that you're keeping track and measuring. Because otherwise, if you don't measure, there really is no conversation to be had after you do it. Okay? So I really hope that I've given you some information that you can use. If you liked this information, please go ahead and click like or comment or tag someone that you know can use this information. I'm going to be having a boot camp coming up specifically for business, and that's going to be at a later date, of course, but I will post that in the group Stay Motivated to Speak and Write. And I will also make sure that I post it on my website, yourpassivelegacy.com, and you can find more information about the podcast. All the recordings of the podcast are going to be $47 24 hours after the podcast has run its airtime. And I believe I've run out of gas. I've run out of fuel. I don't have any other tactics to share with you guys. I really appreciate you guys peeking in on the call and really seeing what I'm talking about. I hope that you use some of this information and take it and use it over and over again. These tactics work, and they work over and over again. So you want to make sure that you just keep using it. Okay? You can go ahead and check out the audio for this on yourpassivelegacypodcast.com 24 hours after this call. Okay. Thank you. Thank you again. If you have any questions or concerns, you can message me at sibusinesscoach@gmail.com, or you can message me on Facebook at Your Passive Legacy, or you can message me at Master Coach Eve on Facebook. Okay? All right. Thank you, all you lovely heartbeats. Thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. I will see you next Saturday with another awesome topic about how you can quit trading your time for money. This is just another way that you can get some results with your business, and it'll just keep getting you results. And it's also going to help you build relationships. Okay? So thank you again, and you all have a wonderful day. Much love.